welcome to everybody watching right around the country for round one of the Shannons Australian Motor Racing Nationals. We've had 99 rounds of the Shannons Australian Motor Racing Nationals, and it's great to welcome Shannons Insurance back on board, as well as all of our other partners and sponsors. Another great inclusion for 2017 is the Zagami Autosport McLaren that they have offered up for our course car. It makes things look pretty special out on track. We don't want to see the safety car, but certainly when we've got it out there, the McLaren looks really good.
Well, I'm in John Goodacre's garage with the man himself, and a big 2017 for you. You used to drive in the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge. Now you made the switch to Aussie GTs.
Yeah, we thought we'd done a fair stint in the GT3 Cup Challenge, which was a great experience for us. I think we ran it 6 or 7 years, and we looked around for another category to go in, just for a bit of a change for me and the crew, and we thought the GT Series was a great place to have a look at.
How different has the category been already for you?
We've only done one round last year, late in September, so this is the first round back this year. We've done a couple of odd rounds with the GTs at Calypso and things, so it's always been very welcoming, and Ken and Margaret do a fantastic job of running the series.
Good luck for the season. Thanks, John.
Thank you very much, Emma, and a big welcome to you, Emma, for 2017 as part of the Shannons Nationals. Great to have you on board. Matt, welcome to commentary here for this second race for the AGT Trophy, guys.
Yeah, good afternoon, Daz. It's still a soggy one out there, isn't it? The rain's come and gone all day long, but we do have another 50 minutes ahead of us. Compulsory pit stops halfway through. 18 cars set to battle it out for race 2 of the 2017 CAMS Australian GT Trophy Series presented by Pirelli. And what a mix of cars. We've got Audis out there, Mark Cars Australia. There's also Lamborghinis and Ferraris. So a great eclectic mix, some of the best brands in world motorsport and the automotive world as well.
Let's have a look at how they'll start. It's Steve McLaughlin in the number 75 Valvoline supported J-Mac Pem Audi. It's Jan Ginadasa. Raging Bull Lamborghini Gallardo in position number 2. Emmanuel Mezzalama take out car number 10 from the 3rd spot on the grid. Rob Smith, the reigning champion for the Trophy Series, out of position number 4. Keith Kasulki will be the first of the marked cars on the grid in number 91.
Steve McLaughlin now controls the field. Jan Ginadasa alongside him. Porsche and Audi on row 2. Mark Carr and Audi on row 3. Green flag about to be waved. The field pouring down the front straight here at Sandown International. Steve McLaughlin takes the flag, heads the field down towards turn 1. Rooster tails a spray off the back of these cars. The Audi driver, though, going to sweep across the road, take the lead into the first turn. Jan Ginadasa drops into second. It's a little bit of a squabble for second between the Audi of Rod Salmon and Rob Smith, just as we saw a little bit earlier on today.
A little bit of a coming together there with the marked car, and suggests it's the Ferrari of Wayne Mack behind there. Just cranked it sideways there, but have a look at this. Jake Camilleri's right up in the mix with these full-on GT cars as they come out of Pertec Corner for the first time. Mazda 3 slows dramatically coming onto the straight there, bottles up the Porsche there. Emmanuel Mezzalami, the Porsche, he's had to take evasive action as Jake Camilleri didn't get out of turn 4 very tidy indeed. He was in the mix with the Audis there, and he's just disappeared backwards and has them all lining up behind him to have a crack at him, because here comes Keith Kasulki in the marked car, and then it's Travis Bain on Wayne Mack. We go back to the beautiful yellow Ferrari of Scott Wilkie, and back to Gary Higgin, and Belinda Price is weighing in there. She'll like to stamp some authority on this race before she jumps out, and Liam McCullen jumps in and has a run at the second half of it.
I wonder if Jake Camilleri missed a gear there or broke into a bit of wheel spin. Still so slippery out there. You can see the way these cars are squirming around as they applied the loud pedal quite liberally out of the final turn. Down the front straight they come to complete the opening lap. Steve McLaughlin leads a 3-second advantage over Jan Ginadasa. Then it's Rob Smith and Rod Salmon, Jake Camilleri and the Porsche of Mezzalama. That's where the action is at the moment. Smith has found a way through on Salmon. He'll be pleased to have done that so early on in this race.
And the Porsche goes around and clouts the wall at turn 3 there. Gave the wall a big wobble. There's an Audi in there too. There's a collision with 2 cars. So yellows will be frantically being waved. Both cars pointing the wrong way. Both have hit the wall. In fact, the arrival of the second car has brought out the safety car, whilst the KFC Audi is parked up against the fence.
And look how slippery it is here. Mezasama goes to apply the throttle. The back end steps out on that Porsche. That spied him across the road a little bit further back. Gary Higgin in the Audi has repeated the task. The Audi spinning into frame any moment now as Mezasama just about gets going. There goes the Audi. If one can go in there, two most certainly can. Caught Richard Gardner out earlier on, and the guys are saying that a little mistake in that section turns into quite a big mistake because the barriers are very unforgiving at that part of the circuit. So safety car is out for the first time this weekend.
Certainly not just the drivers of the GT Trophy series that are having problems down there. It's been a problem for every driver right throughout today, is that that transition. It's hard to get through turn 2 side by side, so if we're having any of that going on, they're spearing off. If we're having someone getting a little bit out of shape, they're spearing off.
So here we go, half an hour remaining, just shy of the pit stop window opening. In fact, those towards the back might even be able to sneak in this time through, in which case it might not be such a bad move while everyone else is still getting up to speed. But Steve McLaughlin lights up the rears as he heads back onto the front straight to lead the field to the green flag. He's got a good jump over Yanni Nadasa as the field comes streaming out of the final corner. Down the front straight now, Audi from Lamborghini. The two Audis of Smith and Salmon as they've been locked together all day long, battling as they head down into turn 1.
The engineering support down there at Audi will have said to Steve McLaughlin, it's pretty obvious, mate, you have got to push. You have got to drive the stint of your weekend now, of your year even. You've really got to push. We need you to break out a good 15 seconds. They're probably asking for about 5 seconds a lap, as if that's possible, but let's see what can happen. He's already clearing away from them as best as he possibly can. Rob Smith wants to go with him. Yanni Nadasa is trying everything he can do with the Raging Bull he's got at his disposal right now. We've got the CCC Polished Concrete, number 22, Rick Mensa. That is, by the looks of things, compulsory pit stop.
Big slide from Steve McLaughlin there through Dandenong Road. He's leaving nothing on the table here. He can't afford to. Meanwhile, Yanni Nadasa just skipping a little bit clear of third place. Rob Smith out there. McLaughlin currently the fastest in all 3 sectors as he looks to pull away. Rob Smith, though, the roles are reversed from race 1 a little bit earlier. He's now watching the rear vision mirror as Salmon chases him into pit lane. The two Audis serving their compulsory pit stops at the same time.
So we've already seen Wayne Mack, Richard Mensa and Scott Hookey come in. We just saw the beautiful yellow Ferrari go through. Travis Bainon goes through now on Camilleri. Camilleri not giving up at all. Hard old ask for a marked car to keep up with the international juggernaut of Audi GT racing cars.
McLaughlin now in pit lane, so the order about to be shaken up a little bit. Can McLaughlin get out and maintain the race lead? There is the car currently in P1. The guys just checking pressures there from the Audi Sport Customer Racing Australia team. Sure they've got everything that they need to go on with this one. And there is the battle for the lead. Bainon slow through 3, backing up Rod Smith. Can he now get the power down? He goes mid-track, looks to use the grippier side of the road. Rob Smith, though, says thanks very much. Through he comes, takes the lead. The number 1 car moves into P1. Further back down the road, McLaughlin from Salmon. Jake Camilleri has moved up into 5th overall, the first Mark class entry. It's Smith and Bainon. You can see how slippery it is out there. There's not the big rooster tails, but they're still so ginger over those painted curbs.
Can be the hardest time of the race to maintain your concentration levels when the conditions are like this. You're no longer running the wipers, so there's not that constant reminder swishing across in front of your eyes, and you get a little bit of confidence up and you head across the top of the hill like here at Sandown, or where it's catching everyone out down the 2, 3, 4 complex. But Travis Bainon not being able to match the pace of car number 1 as Rod Smith drives away. Steve McLaughlin has made up well over a second, but Rob Smith is not laying down. He's still got 7 minutes left to go.
Mistake from Smith into turn 2. He's run wide. Has he kept it on the black stuff? Not really. He's skipped over the back of the curbing at turn 3. That'll have compromised him. McLaughlin is sniffing blood here. Salmon also tucked up underneath, looking to pounce. Smith may have just about got away with it though, but a mistake there at turn 2 has certainly compromised him. The nerves beginning to fray.
1, 2 and 3. A bit of rubbish on the road being thrown up into the air again, so let's hope it's the same piece. It wasn't something coming off the Rod Salmon Squirk Audi. Okay, this is how it should end up at the end of a race, isn't it? With 7 minutes left to go, best part of 4 laps. And how long are these two going to be out? In fact, is that a bit of the side panel out of the Rod Salmon Audi missing on the right-hand side of the car? We're not going to see it on this corner. On the exit, there appears as though part of the squirk sign, a significant part of it, is missing off the side of the car. There it is. That was what the debris was. It was a bit of that that side panel out of the Audi. But on the road cars, you can get any colour you want.
That will certainly hurt him in a straight line because the drag that will bring into the car.
Well, it's also part of the inlet. It's where the fin pops out for inlet for all the operations of the engine. So he'll be missing some efficiency there, apart from the aerodynamic efficiency.
So
gee, they're all getting a bit messy.
Spin from McLaughlin. He clouted the curbing at turn 2.
He got messy before that too.
Yeah,
he was up over the ripple strip, jumped it, landed, sparks came out, and around he goes. So that will put paid to a race victory. He's got to get the fire lit in that. Here it is again.
Watch him just up over the curb there, caught a little bit of that. It's unsettled the car, put him wide, and then once the car's unbalanced or sin, it's so easy to do in there.
Well done to Rod Salmon for not collecting that car as well. That would have put paid to both their days there, but wow, it was a hard hit on the ground when he landed because sparks in wet conditions do not exist normally, so that was a big hit. Now here is 1 and 2 on the road. Matt, I certainly didn't think that we weren't going to be watching the 75 challenging for the race leader in this race. He's lost a whole lot of ground. In fact, he's only just moving away now from the entry to turn 4, so he's the best part of 3/4 of a track behind these guys now. Where's it going to put him actually on the road? It puts him in 9th.
Yeah, that's a costly error from Steve McLaughlin, but it shows just how hard these guys are pushing these Audi R8s at the front of this motor race. Smith, though, from Salmon. Must be number 3 or 4 battle this weekend between these two. Salmon chasing hard. He's tasted Australian GT glory before under the Australian GT Championship banner. Never in the Trophy Series. The man he's chasing wrapped up the title in the Trophy Series 12 months ago.
He likes the older Ultra, doesn't he? Rod Salmon. He's owned a couple of the newer ones, but he certainly enjoys being behind the wheel of his Ultra.
Richard Gartner now in the Lamborghini up the road. That's given Rod Salmon a look up the inside. He's made the move early. He's going to have a go at Gartner as well. Gets 2 for 1. Rod Salmon, a really good move there over the top of Dandenong Road. He under brakes, moves into the lead of the race. Can he now afford? Can he hang on? Can Rod Smith close that gap back up and get back in front of this motor race?
I tell you what, the check's in the mail there, Richard Gartner. It certainly came into the hands of Rod Salmon. He had his eyes and his concentration, and as soon as he saw the Smith car boxed up behind, here it is. You watch Salmon, he looked down there, he said, right, you're going down there. I'm going to have to switch my tactic, and there it is. In fact, he could have reefed hard on the wheel there and understeered, but he didn't. He managed to keep it. Underneath him, Richard Gartner luckily saw that move coming in. That would have been a flash of purple and magenta and yellow and blue through the mirrors, and he's seen it. But Robert Smith is not going to let this get away from him.
Salmon on the flashes, warning Con Whitlock up the road that he's coming. He's got second place Rod Smith just behind him. Rod Salmon, Rod Smith over the top of the rise. They both get through on the Whitlock Bull Bars Audi R8.
Thank you very much, Con. Didn't play into this race at all right then. He could have really messed up either of these guys' run, but he said, no, this is good. We're going to watch this from just back here for the next little while.
As Bainan pointing the wrong way, as we've seen so many there. 90 seconds ago, get that car turned around. It's so difficult, even in wet conditions like this, to do a flick spin. Driving the wrong way up the track, trying to find himself some more road to do that flick spin, but he might have even beached it there. Starting probably the penultimate lap. Fastest lap is 1 minute 19. Salmon heading into the section of track where we saw Baden just a moment ago. In fact, Baden is pulled back across the circuit just as the leaders are upon him. Salmon and Smith get through without any harm coming to them. Nervous moment though, with just a minute left on the clock for these two. Salmon edging his way clear.
Wasn't that long ago that the black and gold car of Travis Baden was a contender in this. Now finds himself back down in 10th position, so a top 10 finish. Not too bad. He is still a very green rookie when it comes to this. These two have been doing it for quite a long time. This bloke in front, in fact, has been at it for a very long time. Not always with an Audi. He'll go up to Bathurst next weekend, I think, entering his Evo in the 6-hour Mount Panorama. So this is a good head out. Certainly will test his fitness in these 50-minute wet races. A couple of marked cars line astern with each other, but completely different ends of the competition. Camilleri currently 6th and Johnny Goodacre 13th. So he's coming through to lap him, is Jake, in the 93.
So we are on the final lap of the race. Leaders have just flashed across the line to start what will be the final tour. This is your lead battle, Smith and Salmon. Smith just shadowing that light blue and pink Audi up the road. He's as close as he's ever been. A good drive out of turn 4 could set him up nicely down into Dandenong Road. It is a good drive. He's as close as he's been. A car length between first and second. Half a lap remaining here. Salmon leads Smith, just dropping off the back a little bit as they accelerate up the rise. Across the top they come. Spot your braking markers, spot the curbs. Don't get too greedy. So easy to make a mistake at this part of the circuit. Salmon, though, serenely on his way. Smith monstering him on the brakes. Smith has a look up the inside. Salmon, wise to it, closes the door.
Well done there, Rob. You had to ask the question. You really did. And there it was. Leave nothing unturned. The opportunity to this next corner has now been negated after having to get slowed up so bad on the exit of Dandenong Road. But the number 6 Squirt Audi Ultra will come to the line with Rod Salmon at the wheel. Rob Smith, the number 1 car, will come through into second place. And wow, the indication is the championship class Ferrari of Scott Hookey will be the next down the road, and it is. And it'll be Wayne Mack in the Ferrari right behind him. So this is 3rd and 4th. Heading towards the line now. There's Leon McClellan. He's kept out of the way and he's kept fast as well. So acquitted himself very well. Should be proud of his work. Big rap for this guy.
Scott Hookey too just gets a little bit squirrely at the final corner, but he'll hang on to take 3rd on road, 1st in class. Wayne Mack will take 3rd in trophy class from Jan Yinadasa, who finished 5th on the road. Meanwhile, the number 75 Audi was so close, within touching distance at the head of this race. Rod Salmon then takes the race win narrowly over Rob Smith. Scott Hookey, an impressive drive to 3rd. Wayne Mack in 4th. Jan Yinadasa in 5th from Jake Camilleri. Steve McLaughlin dropped back to 7th after being within touching distance of the race lead. Keith Kasulki in 8th. Rick Menser in 9th, and Travis Bainen a lap down in 10th.
Weather was absolutely terrible. I've got to tell you, the racing was close. I mean, there at the end, the 3 Audis were just on each other. Steve was in front of me, Rob was in front of me, and then Steve just clipped a corner and went round in front of me. I thought it was all over. Got hit in the first lap. You know, it was a really willing series. It's great. I didn't have radio contact where I could talk back, and I kept saying, "Where are we? Where are we coming?" I said, "I can't see anybody else to overtake." And it was really, I'm thinking, I think we're first, but it's a bit hard to tell. So it was pretty exciting to get the win. Considering the first race, we were pretty off the pace with old tyres. So new tyres helped. Did some quite major setup changes and worked well.
It hasn't sunk in yet. You always, when you make a mistake, that's not the best way to get across the line. But yeah, look, it's great to have a win, and hopefully we can go and do a few more.
We'll be back in just a couple of moments from a very damp Sandown International Raceway round 1 of the Shannons Australian Motor Racing Nationals.
We love having Radical Australia Cup back for the Shannons Nationals round 2017. I'm joined by Tony Haggerty. And Tony, very interesting because, of course, you and your son actually race together in the category.
Yeah, we do. It's something we do together, which is fantastic, and a lot of rivalry in between the two of us. He usually wins, but I haven't given up.
Do you let him win?
Definitely not. No way.
It must make for great post-race dinner conversations.
Yeah, and I mean that's one of the things about Radical. It's a very good group of guys. We all get on very well, so we go out together at night after the race, and it's a good camaraderie.
How long have you been racing together in this category?
We started with the cars in 2010, and I think we've started racing in 11, or maybe 2010, so about 6-7 years. Yeah.
It'd be great to see you both on a podium together this weekend.
Oh yeah, that would be great. That'd be first actually.
Any sort of a strategy or goals for this year for both yourself and your son?
I'm sort of midfield most of the time, so my objective is to get in the finish in the top 10, and so far this year I'm finishing the top 5, so that's only round 2. So I'm happy with that. But yeah, just keep improving and just have fun, go faster.
On track now, Radical Australia Cup, race 2. Let's have a look at how they'll start. Kim Burke, P1, Peter Padden on P2, Ollie Smith, Dave Crampton, Chris Medlin, Rowan Ross, set for a race start. The green flag waves and we have a rolling start. Underway down the long straight here at Sandown. It is a drying track, but race control hasn't removed the wet race sign yet. So these guys will all be on wet Dunlop tyres. It's a control tyre for this category. And Peter Padden in car 1 leads Kim Burke through the first corner. It's Ollie Smith to Crampton and Medlin. Rowan Ross in the 88 doing a ripping job here this weekend. He's got a new engineer on board and has been working very, very well with Joe Ladoni down there, a guy who's been around the traps for quite some time, worked with Lamborghinis and worked with Peter Hackett on Mercedes and all different bits and pieces. Just seeing Rowan getting a little bit squirrely in the wet there. Number 32 coming up the hill is Sue Hughes. She's in one of the older Radicals available out there in the Radical Australia Cup landscape. Here's Peter Padden, car 1, last year's championship winner. That's how you get car 1 to take to all the racing the following year, and he's been a successful Radical racer for some time. Big move there. That's Michael Whiting on Rowan Ross, so just gave Rowan Ross the big talk up, and he's going backwards in the field. He may not be enjoying the greasy conditions out there. Certainly Sandown can be tricky in one of these aero cars in the wet. He's certainly churning it up and doing a fantastic job. Down the straight they go. 50-minute race for the Radicals, and it will be over before you know it as we come down into turn 2 there. Interesting line being taken by Ollie Smith there. It's a very, very bumpy line. See Claire car just getting down the inside of Simon Haggerty. Very, very bumpy. If you're looking to do an overtaking manoeuvre, we've got a spinner on the outside of turn 4 there, up against the wall and beached on the ripple strip. Looks to have got moving again there. That's the 86 car of Ollie Smith. So Ollie Smith was right offline in the run down to 2, and by the exit of 3, he ended up on the ripple strip. He's now actually lost about 6 spots coming down. It's the 47 car of Claire running strongly. Peter Clare in the shared runway. It's an SR3 RX. We've got RS, sorry. We've got a couple of different iterations of the Radicals out there. And physically, from the Nationals TV standpoint, you can tell by the head-on shot there that some of them have like a bubble type front on them. The others have the more formula type nose cone on them with the overarching wheel covers, a depression, and then the bump in the middle that looks kind of like a formula car. We see Sue Hughes' car with the kind of bubbly front on the back there. Here's Kim Burke, the 68 car in P2. Peter Padden has cleared out. He's got a 3-second lead. Burke, then Crampton, and it's 11 seconds back to Crampton. So the front 2 runners at the moment charging on with it. So the word from the pits is that the The Rowan Ross car has had to do a reset gear position. So that means that the car has to be slowed. They can grab that reset and get on with it. It's a bit of a Control-Alt-Delete. That's what the kids are doing these days when they need to do it. So that word out of the crew down in the lane. Here's a move on Simon Haggerty. Tony Haggerty very wide there. These three have been racing Radicals together for at least 5 years in the Radical Australia Cup Challenge. Down the inside, both go through. Ollie Smith and Tony Haggerty. Simon Haggerty hung out to dry, but Tony Haggerty not managing to gather it all up, gets out on the painted lines, which are still wet. Ollie Smith going straight to the inside of the track. They're trying to pick up a bit of water on the wet tyres, trying to cool them off so they don't get too greasy on the plunge down into turn 1. This is going to be the story of this race, the Dunlop wet tyre. And if we don't get any more rain, which it doesn't look like, the skies are, I wouldn't say they're clear, but they're certainly a lot brighter than what they've been all day here at Sandown. There's Sue Hughes in the number 32 car. In fact, she looks like she's got one of the newer cars there as well in the SR3 RS. She did have one of the older cars. She may have got some updated body work there. So we'll chase that story before the next round of the Radical Australia Cup. Enthralling battle for the Haggerty racing team. And pretty sure there'll be plenty of chit-chat, the family catch-ups over the next little while about, hey, how we spent 20 minutes line astern with each other in race 2 at Sandown. Got to thank them as well for just mixing up the livery between their two cars a little bit as well, because they have been traditionally the same livery, so we can tell them apart from a distance. Tony is looking for a way through. He darts out now to get the dry bit of track. He'll have the dry side of track to do all his braking on. Will he be able to make it stick? He'll certainly have better drive out of turn 1. If they hit that little wash across the track there, and you want to be very, very ginger on the throttle as you pick up that part of the track. Some ominous clouds right out over the back of Port Phillip Bay. We look to the skies there. That's now out over Glen Waverley sort of area if you know Melbourne at all. It's sort of 20 kilometres either side of Sandown International Raceway. It's wet, but we haven't had rain here for the best part of over an hour now. This is for cars 3 and 4 on the road. 47, Peter Clare, the shared runway car. Position 3 there at the moment. The number 3 of Dave Crampton is on the charge at the moment. Dave Crampton last time round at 19.3. Shared runway car of Peter Clare, a 19.9. So car 3, the Vantage Freight car on screen now, is on charge, trying to fight back. Kim Burke goes into the race lead as we see Peter Padden in the pits. Albeit that wet tyres are on the cars and the dries are standing by. Once the race leader comes in and decides that he's not going to go to slicks, I dare say everyone will stay on the wet tyres. Michael Whiting in now. It'll be some time before the compulsory pit window closes, and we'll be back after this short break. Well, tricky conditions still here at Sandown for round 1 of the Shannons Nationals. This rain's going to slow everyone's progress down just a little bit at the moment. Is car 1, I dare say once things wash out with the lead that Peter Padden had in the first Focus car, he should maintain. Just a couple of laps ago before the rain came down, James Winslow set the fastest lap of the race on a worn out set of wet tyres in the dry at a 1:17.34. It's a long way off the 1:09 lap record for Radicals. Here's a new set of boots going on too. I think that's Ollie Smith's car. Fresh set of wets going on board. He had slicks on, I think. He's come in. And that's why Ollie Smith has disappeared a little bit down the field. He changed tyres in the compulsory pit stop. This is Kim Burke, second on the road. Car looks quite poised now that the rain is coming back down again. But he's going to take a hell of a lot of poise and composure to make up 40.25 seconds to race leader Peter Patton as we go back down to Emma in pit lane.
Chris is getting pretty chaotic down in pit lane. Just talk us through the pit stop you made with Oliver's car.
Okay, so after the compulsory pit stop, Oliver changed onto slicks. We thought it was the right choice at the time. It was a bit of a gamble, but we went for it. And unfortunately, the rain's come down again pretty hard since, so he's had to come in and go onto wets.
Chris Papadopoulos there spent some time at Lotus F1 and now overseeing all the engineering down there for Radical Cars Australia, and has the virtual army of engineers and mechanics reporting back to him throughout the race weekend. Lots of experience and a good guy to have working for your series. It'll certainly help everyone right across the board as far as the Radicals are concerned. James Winslow darting out behind the spray that Dave Crampton is offering up. 21.86 for James Winslow last lap around. Our leader at 25, P2 at 25.7, Dave Crampton at 25.3. So at the moment, James Winslow in these horrible conditions is about 4 seconds a lap quicker, and we're seeing what he's doing now, monstering the back of Dave Crampton. Here's Ollie Smith now back out on wets, goes through on Rowan Ross, and that'll be for position because he's completed 24 laps as well. The next car is 2 laps further up the road from him, and that's James Winslow. 1:27 to our race leader, Peter Patton, that time through, with just over 10 minutes left to go. Patton leads Burke, leads Dave Crampton, leads Simon Haggerty, Peter Clare, and then Magic Towing for Radical, and Tony Haggerty. Rounding out the 10 will be James Winslow, and it's Ollie Smith, Rowan Ross and Sue Hughes, final car on track. And these are now treacherous conditions. That's car 5. That is Simon Haggerty out of position 4 in the race. He's not going to get out of there. He's buried in the mist. Absolutely buried in the mist down there. There goes car 3. The race yesterday for the Radicals was cut short due to bad conditions, and it was fairly similar to what we're experiencing now. So this is going to be very, very interesting indeed. We'll wait and see what race control does. They're all on wet tyres, so yesterday they were on slicks because they started in the dry. Ollie Smith went for a foray onto slicks. Has now had to switch back to wets. It was a gamble. It's one of those 1% things we could have been here in dry weather. There's shots of the Radical Australia crew in pit lane, just ducking into cover. And they are slowing down at their own fruition out there at the moment. There's yellow flags being displayed in the straight. That's because of the car down in the sand pit at turn 1, which is Simon Haggerty. Cars still circulating very, very gingerly indeed. They've got 8.25 minutes to go in this journey, as this is the battle for second, albeit almost at a walking pace. They're now starting to splash around in puddles down there at turn 2. So this is Kim Burke with Dave Crampton, and they're still racing for points. This could be championship changing stuff here today. Have a look at that. That is tough day at the wheel there. Car number 47 out of P5, that's Peter Clare, who was doing it for Magic Towing here today. And he's parked it on the final corner coming onto the straight here. Race leader Peter Patton has slowed down to a walking pace. He has got a 53.9 second lead, so we can probably just about do walking pace down the straight. Here is positions 2 and 3 on the road, so we can see the gap now. Car 1, the leader of the race is in turn 1 at the moment, and these guys are just coming out of Dandenong Road, so it's half a lap lead that Peter Padden, the champion in SR3s from the last 2 years. There is the checkered flag, and I would suggest race control have pulled that one out as a safety concern, because even James Winslow slowed down at this point in time. And that will see Peter Padden take out the race win today. Race 2 for the Radicals, and he will see home behind him Kim Burke and Dave Crampton across the line. They go the Vantage Freight car. Car number 3 gets through, and they have just trickled across the line. Car number 68. They are just wishing their way safely back to the pit lane now. For Radical Australia Cup, race 2, there they have it. Peter Padden led and won the race, ultimately by over 1 minute. Kim Burke comes to last in about 6 laps and gets the result for him and Michael Whiting through to P5. It's Oliver Smith in 6, Rowan Ross, who had a torrid result there with tech issues all the way through. They're fought through and come 7th. And Sue Hughes, the last finisher, in 8.
That was a really fun race. It started off damp and then dried out. It was dry as a bone in the middle, and then we were searching for water, and then fortunately the rain came tumbling down at the end of the race, which is good. I was thinking about the difference in lap times between dry tyres and wet tyres, and there's probably only a 4-second a lap difference. So we were thinking that it wasn't really ever going to be the case that changing to the slicks would have been a good idea. It just taken too long to change the tyres. So the strategy was just sort of do what we could with what we had and try and look after them early.
Aaron Steele, what an exciting weekend. The debut of a brand new category, the Australian Prototype Series, and you're a big part of it.
Yeah, we support a fair bit of the Australian Prototype Series. We're running 6 cars here this weekend. We've actually got 8 to bring back now that we've got 2 new toys, so we've got to work that out now. There's nothing really like them in Australia. They're like a proper sort of prototype that races in European and Asian Le Mans. So it's a good stepping stone for kids to jump in these things and get some practice before they go international.
Welcome back trackside at the Shannons Australian Motor Racing Nationals on debut in the Australian motorsport landscape. Here this weekend is the Australian Prototype Series. They're on track in the tricky conditions, which everyone's going to have to endure throughout today. Gary O'Brien, a veteran of 99 Shannons Australian Motor Racing Nationals, and coming up at Phillip Island, Gaz, you'll tick up the 100, but Prototype's on track now.
Yeah, very excited about this new series that's coming to us this weekend from Sandown Raceway.
Larky, Short, Padden, Crampton, the first 2 rows of the grid. Piavitas, Cranston, Josh Cranston there. Then it's Simon Haggerty, Chris Sutton, Phil Hughes in the red and yellow Radical, and it was Phil Hughes that opened his workshop in Melbourne for these guys to get the Wolves race ready all through the night on Friday. Set for a race start. Mark Short got a ripper yesterday in the number 16 there, but Mark Lauke knows how to do this. He's done it in the wet before. It's a big move by Crampton. In fact, David Crampton's going to stream through to the lead before the field get more than about 1 car's length off the line there, and he is absolutely screaming away in the number 3 there. Peter Padden will join in car number 1. He's the Radicals reigning champion. Then they go down into turn 1. Lauke and Mark Short were gazumped by these other cars coming off the line. In fact, Mark Short's gone back behind the charging car of Phil Hughes there. You've got to suggest, Gaz, that those Radicals off the line in the wet were amazing.
Lauke goes around as they go through turn 3, doesn't hit anything, so he'll get going again. He was saying yesterday just how great it is to have gear changes working after 2 years of problems, and unfortunately didn't quite make it through the first couple of corners, and certainly the Radicals very good in the wet weather, and Prince was one of the Prince driver, I should say, in short, was one of the few that said, I hope it's not raining today.
Yeah, so we've just seen Mark Lauke, the 2015 champion, go round their tricky conditions, and in fact our front row of the grid are just disappearing back down through the field there. Have a look at this bloke right in screen there, the red Radical, Phil Hughes, started off the 5th row of the grid, has found his way through to P3. These Radicals in the wet off the line are absolutely awesome.
Well, we've got Patton, Crampton, Hughes, Sutton. They're all in Radicals. Haggerty a number of the radicals. So the top 5 are all in radicals.
Here's Mark Lauke just trying to gas it up. It's lucky that Phil Hughes got a lot of brakes there, and presence of mind from Mark Lauke to grab that opposite lock and swing the front of the car around there. Lucky also that no one arrived on the scene to do any damage to not only him but themselves on their way through.
Yeah, must say too, it looks like both the Wolves haven't made it through the first lap. I'm pretty sure one of them wasn't on the grid. It was supposed to start next to Terry Piavitas. I didn't see it there, and the other one was off the back, so I suggest that they've had issues. They had enough issues in the dry, let alone the wet. We just seen Hughes go past Crampton into second position, gets it all sideways out of turn 3, exploring the limits of that car. You notice too that car's left-hand drive, the others are all right-hand drive, and you can easily tell the radicals from the Wests and the Prince, the other cars, because they're two-seaters, whereas the Wests are a single-seater, as you can see with Lauke, the leader of that group.
There's the guy that started off pole. He's just gone through Mark Short, the number 35, now going backwards. That's Chris Sutton. In fact, Chris weighed his way up to 5th place, is now back down to 9th, and we're only 1.5 laps into this journey. The front of the number 77, which is Jason Macris, is flapping around, so he's hit something early on in this race. John Paul Drake, the multicoloured extravaganza, in behind him.
The car that Jason Macris is in there is actually the car that Josh Cranston crashed on Friday, and because of the issues that he had with his West WX10, he's gone back to the older model for these races.
Phil Hughes giving a little bit of sideways speedway action there. A guy synonymous from behind the scenes and on the radio to famous drivers like the late Alan Simonson, now jumping behind the wheel and enjoying some racing of his own. He's found his way into P2 here in the second race for the Australian Prototype Series.
Actually, he's recorded the fastest lap of the race as well, so he's catching Patton, who's out in front. Patton, of course, won the Radical race, the 50-minute race yesterday afternoon, so getting a lot of laps around Sandown this weekend. It looks like Short has slowed in the Prince. It's a Suzuki-powered car. Most of the other cars that he's ilked, the 1 litre cars, are all Kawasaki-powered.
And most of those cars being chain-driven, particularly this one on screen, whereas the Radicals go through a Quaife-type differential. And I think that might be the drive off the start, is that the Quaife, as in a limited slip differential, but off the line will certainly, once wheel spin kicks in, will lock it up and they'll be able to get away. And I would suggest that as opposed to the chain-driven cars, that's why they got off the line so very strongly.
This gap has certainly come down between our 2 race leaders. Patton out in front in the Radical SR3 RX, and the earlier Model 1 of Phil Hughes right in behind him. And as we said, this car came via a different channel to most of the Radicals, and hence why it's left-hand drive.
Oh, we've got the
Crampton.
3 car of Crampton gone round, so he's actually gone from 3rd on the road back to 4th, and Kim Burke, who is another charger in the field, coming from right down in the field,
last,
is pushing hard, yeah, and he's coming through. Kim Burke's had the game on a string here this weekend, doubling entries with the Australian Prototype Series and, of course, with the Radicals as well. This is a race of drive out of here, and the Quaife differential that the Radicals have is working to their advantage massively. We're seeing them lap them, and these guys behind, Terry Piavitas and Aaron Cranston. Given any day, both guys are race winners.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Absolute race winners. And this car out in front, I dare say, as the series rolls on, we're going to see that car gracing the podium. They've got plenty of racing to go. Winton, Sydney Motorsport Park, QR and Phillip Island. Still tricky conditions trackside here at Sandown International Raceway.
Change of position, John Paul Drake going past Mark Short, because Mark Short finished 2nd yesterday. This race is still on with just a couple of laps left.
First floor Radical Peter Patton has led since about 3/4 of the way through the first lap. Phil Hughes joined him early and darts out from behind him. Better drive from the red car out of the corner, the Series 1 SR3, and this is the run that Phil needs, and he's got it too. He's going to charge. He just gets left behind. The aero of the new car comes into it. They both run the same drive line, the same gearbox and differential, but wow, the new iteration or the new aero, it's about a decade newer, so they've had a whole lot of time to get that car slicker and through the air. and just drives away. But Phil Hughes is right with him now, and he has switched to attack. A couple of laps remaining, in fact 2 and a bit quarter laps. As we look back down, this is positions 3 and 4 on the road. And a big wave to the camera there, or a gesture to the barman, just the one.
John Paul Drake spun down at turn 3. It's, as we like to call this car, the licorice all sorts, or the
Rubik's Cube. Multicoloured extravaganza,
Yes,
certainly
indeed.
bright in these dim conditions.
Yeah, it's certainly evident that there's no way that Phil could have got into the slipstream of Peter going up the back straight the last time, because there's just nothing to see.
Yeah, he's going to have
He
to
had to
dive
pull
down. It
out.
looks like he's going to try it here. Green flag at the entry to 4 there. So here he is again. Wow, Phil Hughes is able to put that car at right where he wants it. He's got the mechanical grip working very, very well for him. But boy, that's more than just aero there. He's got a couple of more kilowatts on him to be able to drive away like that.
Yeah, well, when you look at it from side on, there is a couple of car lengths he does pull going up the back straight, but that could be because of the different aero that they have.
He's getting a little bit nervous here, Gaz. There's only a lap or so to go, and Phil Hughes has switched to attack mode, hasn't he? Just going to see what the result is there. There's Kim Burke, who's currently 3rd on the road. Got to 3rd about a lap and a half ago to the driver of number 3, Dave Crampton. So he climbs up the back in the Vantage Freight Radical, one of the newer chassis as well.
Radicals hold on top 7 spots at the moment.
Certainly the other prototypes were strong in the drive, but I'm going to suggest it's the drive that these Radicals are getting through the limited slip differential that is working so strongly for them.
Lost a little bit of pace on that lap. It may have been because of a lap car. Phil picks up a lot of time in the squiggly bits under brakes, and we've got certainly a good braking point down at turn 9 after they get past the rise, and this will be the last time they do it as well.
So Phil Hughes, he's got 4 or 5 corners to prove his point here today. That drive up the hill of the white car in front of him, Peter Padden at the wheel, is superior. And I tell you what, these guys will be like a 2-year-old in a bathtub inside there. It'll be a wet old experience when they get out of these cars. They'll be splashing around all over the place.
Look at the gap that Hughes was able to pull in as they go down through turn 9 on the last occasion. What can he do now? It's only about 2 or 3 corners left to go, but they're not real hard stopping type corners like that one.
I think the answer is power. It's certainly aero up the back straight as they come around. There it is. Phil Hughes has gone through.
He got him.
He got him. He got him on the second but last corner there. Phil Hughes wins race 2 for the debut weekend of the Australian Prototype Series, and no one's more surprised than Phil Hughes.
Or us.
Absolutely fist pumping across the line there. Peter Padden relinquished the lead on the final corner. And here comes the next lot in line there. These guys are 34 seconds behind our first pair. Phil Hughes and Peter Padden come to the line.
Just seen the first of the West come across the line. Race 1 winner Mark Lauke in 8th position in this race.
So Phil Hughes takes a win in the Australian Prototype Series, driving his Radical to Peter Padden in a Radical, Kim Burke in the number 68, Dave Crampton, Tony to Simon Haggerty. So a nice switch there. Chris Sutton, Mark Lauke in the first of the Wests out there. Then Michael Whiting and John Paul Drake recovers to bring it home in 10th place.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, so I was 9th off the start, and Chris really kindly loaned me a gear ratio yesterday, which has got me out of my problems. So it's just made the world of difference, and the car was a jet. And I just love the conditions, you know, like I grew up in England, it's always wet. I had a nice big cup of tea from Courtney this morning, and that set me for the day, so I'm really happy about that. That went well.
I think all race, Phil was probably better. He was a quicker car. I was holding him up in a few spots down the bottom of the track, and I had a suspicion that he was going to come and find me. And then on the last lap, he got a little bit aggressive, and I thought, I don't really want to have a bar of this, so I let him through. Gave him nice racing room, and he took the win.
very big thank you to our commentators for a fantastic job this week, and of course the entire team. And thank you very much to you for watching. As you can see, it's been wet, it's been cold, it's made for some very interesting racing and some great battles. And we want to see it all again. We want to see you with us again, May 26th to 28th. Make sure you put those dates in your diary. That wraps up round 1 here at Sandown. We'll see you for round 2 in Phillip Island.